Hi everyone, this video is on creating a bar graph of meaningful question level data within classroom data. There's another video on creating histograms of large trend data. This is the same data set, and I'm not going to explain it in the detail that I did in the previous video. So if you haven't watched that video, go back and watch that one, or at least the beginning of that one, and then come back to this. But this one expressly looks at question level data. And this is the level of data that most often is the most meaningful, or one of the most meaningful levels of data analysis when you're looking at classroom level data. Again, quick review, this is a pre-assessment in a first grade classroom on some high frequency words. And in the previous video, I created these orange columns on the right in which we looked at the percent of correct words aligned with the learning outcome objective, learning objective. Sorry, assessor in me likes to say outcome, by each of the students in the classroom. This time around, we're going to look at question level data. And for this, we're looking at how many students had a mistake in each of the words that we assessed in this particular assessment. So the words across the top, and then what I did was create a row on the bottom and add up the number of mistakes. Just to be clear, you also could, instead of adding up the number of mistakes, you could add up the number of correct responses and graph that if you would like. My reasoning for graphing the number of mistakes is often it is a little bit more clear in the differences in the visual of the graph, but also it is because my intended application here is to identify the words that we will focus on during adult-directed instruction. So in this particular unit, I didn't show it in the last video, but it's up here. It is an ELA unit, English Language Arts unit, in a first grade classroom. And there are a number of opportunities in which I am going to review target high frequency words. And I'm going to use them in transitions and demo them in practice activities. So I'm interested in which of these 15 words I ought to focus on over the course of this week. That's the histogram we already created. Okay, so I added up the number of mistakes. So this time around, we're going to make a bar graph, and we're going to go to the same thing, insert chart. We can use a column again. If you would prefer, you can do a horizontal column, a bar, if you'd like. Let's do that, just so I can show you a different idea here. Okay, so we can do a bar. A horizontal bar. Okay, and in this case, again, we only have one series, so we can just go ahead right now and get rid of series 2 and 3 because we don't need them. The fastest way to do that, oops, daisies, is to drag and adjust and get rid of these. Okay. And this time around in our categories, we're going to put our sight words. So Anne had I, Anne had I, her. Let's extend down here. Had I, her, move it so I can see things like. All right, okay. Like in, what is wrong in Denmark? I have baffled the system somehow. Let's try again. What you cannot see in this video is that my cat is being insistent on pushing into my hand. Whoops, we have to remove her. She's sitting on my desk on top of my mouse pad. And every time I try to do something, she's pushing my hand that is holding the mouse. All right, again, bar graph. Let's try again here. Now, Tonks, thank you. Okay, get rid of these. And then we're gonna grab this and go down. And our words are Anne had I her like in my take is now the no, just no, then said down. Okay, and then let's go over and say, okay, so we had 4 mistakes for Anne, 7, 2, 5, 9, 2, 6, 8, 6, 11, 8 mistakes for the, 2 mistakes for no, 6 mistakes for then, 10 mistakes, and 12 mistakes. Okay, so here's our data. Again, we're going to close this for a minute after I say number of errors. Okay. Number of errors in high frequency words. Okay, and again, I like to have, by the way, I just double clicked on that to open up this menu. You also can click the design menu at the top. I like to have axis titles, and so we're gonna do a primary vertical, and then this is high frequency, we're gonna say assigned, high frequency words. Okay. All right, so from this, in terms of application, I can very clearly see that down now said the like. Okay, so if I look at this, here are our words that have the highest number of errors. And so these would be the words that I would really want to focus on in those activities. So my application would be to focus on down, now, the, said, like, in those particular activities in this particular unit. I also probably would not focus on no, in, I, because there are very few students making mistakes in these words. And if I were to go back and do a qualitative analysis, I might be able to identify that what exactly is going on with these students. Once again, this is just a quantitative analysis. And so I would want to take a look at what I thought was going on in terms of patterns of error for a particular word. So if let's just take down for a minute, I can see there are a number of students, looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, who didn't answer it at all. So we can't really determine what's going on if they don't answer it. And then we have at least a couple of students who are really only hearing the first and last sound in the word, which is a typical development of phonemic spelling. And then we have a DON, a DO, a DON, and these students are struggling with that OW, which is a tricky letter combination in the middle of this particular word. And then last but not least, we have somebody who wrote BOWN. This person clearly understands how to spell the word. I'm guessing, especially if I look over and see that there's also said is also SAIB and had is HAB, that we're dealing with some B and D inversions here with this student. And it's not so much that they don't know how to spell the word, it is that they're struggling with inverting those letters in terms of conventional spelling. So this is really strong phonemic spelling, and even heading to conventional spelling. This is an error that we can work with really quickly in a first grade classroom. So that is analyzing question level data and graphing question level data and applying your understanding of question level data to your curriculum and instruction.